why don't we start with Carl? If you could kick us off on the Raw results.
Yeah, definitely. And Orange, feel free, if you want to chip in to anything that I'm saying here. But yeah, wow, again, great
Now
great
it's
to have you on
such
the
a
show.
such a big talent to have here. I mean, obviously we saw your mic skills on commentary for AEW, which was just stellar performance. And we're glad you could fit the time in, mate. We really do appreciate it.
Wow. So yeah, I think I'll kick off then with Raw. So um, this week, the opening segment was a video package. So it kind of showed Brock about him kind of being the most dominant force in the whole history of the WWE, reeling off name after name, legend after legend, talking about him beating Cena, beating Hulk Hogan, beating The Rock. Like literally, it's hard to like you forget sometimes how long Brock's been in the game. Do you know what I mean? Because he's hardly ever here. But like when you think about it, he has been in the WWE for fucking ages. But yeah, it was like a good reminder of that his kind of whole career. But the whole kind of thing that they were trying to get across was nobody's ever been so dominant for so long. Um, and then it kind of cut to Drew. He agreed with everything that Paul was saying. But then kind of was teeing up the fact that finally Brock has met his match. So a nice little opening to the show to what is going to be Raw's main event. Or we think at least. But that was a nice little opening, and then it kind of cut straight into Heyman and Brock, who were in the ring. And I mean, just another excellent promo from Heyman. I mean, has he ever done a bad? Has he ever done a bad promo?
Well, that's the thing. He really knows what he's doing behind the mic. He really does. And to be honest, I remember Brock when he first came into it, and he's never really been strong on the mic himself. I think the best thing he's had is Heyman as his advocate. It really helps sort of build the monster because he just needs to go in and perform as he does. But I don't know. I'm not being too unfair because he was new in the business as well. But do you remember when he the first run in WWE when he was with he was doing angles with Kurt Angle, ironically, and and you get things like they were doing that sort of who can chug a gallon of milk faster and stuff like that. And they were trying to throw a bit of humor and a bit of personality there, but you could see that it's not his strength, that the sort of the talking aspect, the promo aspect really. But you can never fault Heyman behind the mic. You really can't.
Well, that's it. I think the combination of them works really well. Like Brock doesn't need to say anything, and by having
Exactly.
someone like Paul Heyman being his advocate and doing all the talking for him, Brock does his talking in the ring. That's kind of what he's about. So, but yeah, so just another fantastic promo from Heyman. And it was, very current as well. So he's basically saying how, because of everything with COVID-19, like everybody's living in uncertainty at the moment, and in a time when we need, a level of certainty in our lives, he can give that to us, and that is Brock Lesnar. It's a dead cert that McIntyre cannot beat Brock at WrestleMania, and I just thought that was a nice little touch. I think with everything that's going on as well, I forget what that saying is. There's nothing certain in life but death and taxes or whatever, isn't it? But
Oh yeah,
now it's death, taxes, and Brock Lesnar.
yeah. Damn right.
But yeah, so the kind of whole thing around it was he's gonna make it quick, but he's not gonna make it painless. He's gonna make Drew pay for what he did to him with the Rumble and what he did to him on Raw. But yeah, basically Heyman said Drew McIntyre's, he's good and he could do something to Brock, but basically he's just gonna end up being another bitch that tried. And I don't know about you, but do you feel like, since AEW are doing their thing and with like we saw it with Shayna Baszler and stuff, kind of using the word bitch and shit and things the other week. Like, do you feel like they're just trying to step up there, like effing and jeffing now that AEW are doing that?
Yeah, I'm curious on that really because I don't know if it's like a massive coincidence because they recently had sort of new network deals. Obviously, they had the introduction of Fox for SmackDown and stuff like that. So everything was sort of renewed in a contract sense. So I don't know how those things work with TV contracts and whether that's the reason that they can now throw a few more expletives out there or whether it truly is like they feel threatened, so they're going to change the dynamic a little bit. Uh, I would I would personally believe that it's the latter. I think they are trying to sort of be a bit more edgy because they know that that's the product that AEW are offering, and obviously they've been stepping away from that for a long time. Plus, the face of PG John Cena isn't there anymore. So
Mm.
do they really need to keep appealing to the kids, or are they going to have to try and get that sort of audience, that sort of early 20s into the 30s sort of area, where there are still a ton of fans?
Well, that's it. Like, I think like they've been treading the line for a while now between PG and like PG-13, but I think with the latest level of the stuff which I'm sure we'll get to when you talk about SmackDown in a bit, but with some of the things that they're doing seems a little bit edgier and like more risque, if you will. So I don't know whether they're kind of maybe moving to. They definitely are a PG. They're definitely teetering now between PG-13 and like do they call it TVMA for mature or something over in the States?
Yeah,
But
I mean, obviously, yeah, it works a bit differently for us, doesn't it? But I think it is TVMA, like you say.
yeah, I mean, but yeah, it definitely seems like they're reacting to AEW. I don't know, Orange, whether you've got anything to add. Cool. Okay.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, deep, insightful.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I never thought of it like that, if I'm honest. Yeah.
No, God, such a good addition. Hopefully this guy will come back.
I can imagine.
So that was the kind of opening to Raw, and then as they do every week, they do one of the replays. So this time, and it was quite a nice fit, really. To be fair, it did make a bit of sense. So they've gone through building Brock up and talking about, that Drew's not going to have a chance, and they played a clip from Rumble 2015. So it was Lesnar versus Rollins versus Cena in a triple threat, and I thought that was quite a good match, really, to kind of push the narrative on of based off what we saw at the start. Because obviously Brock ends up taking the win in that, and he's quite dominant throughout. So did make a bit of sense this time. Didn't feel like they were just doing it as filler.
Yeah, it was good for me as well because and I don't know what it is, but I totally forgot about this match. Don't remember it happening, so I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think it was good that it wasn't so recent, like what they have been doing, where people have definitely seen it and it kind of becomes a tune out mode. So
Yeah. Like again, I can understand why they did it, but like, was it last week or the week before? When it's like, here's the Rumble you've just watched. Like, oh, okay, thanks.
yeah, just didn't make any sense. So I feel like they've got the balance a little bit better. If they are going to play different video packages or video of matches from past, then they should actually be from the past.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the start. Then they moved on to the Styles Taker bit. So they kind of recap some of the stuff from the last few weeks around the derogatory terms that AJ was saying about Taker and about his wife and how Taker's her bitch. And then obviously Taker coming out and do-rag Taker, hood rat Taker, if that's his new gimmick, coming out and fucking up the OC. So kind of gives a little bit of a recap. And then AJ comes out to cut a promo. He said basically the long and short of it is he doesn't care what night it's on, whether it's the Saturday or the Sunday, but Undertaker might care because it depends when his wife's gonna let him out of the house. He's really going deep into this.
Yeah, he's proper sticking with that gimmick, isn't he?
Yeah, it's a really weird one, to be honest, because I think we were talking like, what Taker are we going to see? Are we going to see Deadman Taker, or are we going to see American Badass Taker? But they really go leaning hard into this Mark Calloway thing. Like, they then went on to the fact that he did call him Mark Calloway again, but he started saying he said last week he came out in his maternity pants. He said maybe he's wearing diapers. Who knows? And then he brings up a social media post that Taker and Michelle McCool put out around
Oh, when they were,
rescuing tigers.
yeah. They done like a whole sort of pictures, didn't they, of them hanging around with all the tigers and that, or lions, I
Well,
think they were, but big cats.
yeah. So I feel like it's one of the very first times really that they've referenced the Taker's got a social media account, and he basically said, I don't want the Mark Calloway who's posting selfies on Instagram. I want the Taker of yesteryear, but unfortunately he's nowhere to be found. So yeah, I don't know. I definitely wasn't expecting it to go this angle. Like I was a bit critical. I know that you found it quite favourable when he did it last week or the week before, but I was a bit critical that he was leaning into this Mark Calloway thing around someone like the Undertaker. But they have fully leaned into it now, so I'm really unsure what type of Taker we're actually going to see.
Well, that's the bit, and to be honest, the reason I enjoyed it was because it felt like it was heading towards a Taker that I really enjoy, or a Taker that I have a lot of nostalgia for, which was the sort of the biker, the American Badass. But like you say, it doesn't even feel like they're going there. It feels like it really does feel like they're trying to be as personal as some of the CM Punk stuff when he was feuding with Triple H. And I know it's not exactly the same parallel, but when they're trying to be like, we're not going by our wrestling names. This is real. And yeah, I don't know. It just feels a bit too heavy-handed, really. It doesn't feel as natural. It doesn't feel like there's a genuine feud there, to be honest with you. But
No,
he's
it's
doing his
literally
best
out
with
of
it.
nowhere.
Yeah, like I suddenly hate you for no reason. And I know
Mark.
AJ's the heel, but even the heels, like for a Undertaker who's never there, you can understand some of the gimmick to say, well, I want to beat the Undertaker. It's like a thing you do. He is a legend in the business, but he's even saying, well, you're not the Undertaker that was in his prime. So it's like, right, so you want to beat up an old man, like. Like, what are you gonna get from this? You win, you beat up an old man. You lose, you got beat up by an old man. Like, I'm not quite sure what you're building here, AJ.
Maybe they're just playing the long game. Maybe the real build is going to be a battle of the Southern Stars, and it's going to be AJ versus Michelle McCool at SummerSlam.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, Undertaker didn't even bother coming out.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, she'll deal with it.
He'll just be at ringside clapping her, cheering her on in his maternity pants with a fucking baby tiger. But yeah, so basically, so it doesn't even seem like they are going to bring back the American Badass because Styles is then saying he wants to bring back the Dead Man, and so he's gonna make a match called the Boneyard match. The fuck is a Boneyard match?
Sounds sexy.
Basically, Taker, we're gonna bone in the yard. Okay.
Yeah, it's. We'll go on to it in the news. There have been some details given out on that, which just sounds like sort of stuff they've had before, but repackaged, as it were. Um, Basically, and we'll discuss it a little bit more because AJ provided some detail. But basically, because of the current climate with all obviously the COVID-19 stuff, and there's a lot of like, sadly, death and that involved. They didn't want to say a cemetery, so they deliberately tried to avoid the term. So that's, from what I gather, the main reason they've said boneyard, because basically it's a graveyard.
Okay.
From what I gather. But we'll talk more on that in the news because it's one of the topics I've got for the ringside report.
Interesting. It's gonna be a shame if that is the case, really, because obviously, you want to see them in a wrestling match, don't you? It seemed quite strange, but yeah, I suppose we'll
Sadly, I
cover
think
that.
there's a lot of on location stuff being done now with what's been going on. But yeah, we can talk on that further.
Cool. So yeah, interested to see where that goes. Next, they kind of had a backstage segment with Andrade and Angel Garza. Apparently they want the tag team titles now, so they're going to be facing the Street Profits at Mania for some fucking reason.
Okay.
Yeah, no idea.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, so that's happening. So
Yeah.
of course, to really build them up and sell it to us that they're going to be able to win the tag team titles, they put them against. You ready for this?
Oh, I'm
Our
ready.
our number one fan, our top listener, Ricochet. Hey, bud.
Hey, nice to see you back, Rick.
Nice, yeah, nice to give you that shout out, mate. With another guy, Cedric Alexander. So, I think
Oh wow.
we've spoken in the past that we like our tag teams to come out and actually feel like tag teams. And luckily, in this case, I feel like that they have because they've come out. I think they've even got their own tag team name of the Buried Bitches.
Oh,
Um,
nice. Yeah, that makes sense. That's like almost their gimmick at this point.
Pretty much. So I think Vince has gone, do you know what? Let's put you guys together as a tag team because I hate the pair of you. So, um, yeah. So,
Yeah, be easier if you're together. Then I can focus my hate.
yeah, no surprise. The Mexican medley went over the Buried Bitches. And I wouldn't say it was a full-on squash match, but it wasn't exactly, there wasn't a really
All
good
right.
show in there from
I
the
mean,
rest
that
of
is a
them.
little bit surprising, to be honest, that it wasn't just a full-on squash, because I mean, he's been getting squashed left and right, old Rick, at the minute.
Well, yeah.
So at least they got a little bit of offense in, I suppose.
Well, that's it. But for some God knows reason, fucking the Street Profits come out halfway through and sit on commentary because for whatever reason, they must think that people find them entertaining, which don't know where that's come from because they fucking bore the shit out of me.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to do a bit of a survey with all of our listeners, all 700,000 of our listeners, as to whether the Street Profits are actually entertaining, because I, for one, find them annoying as fuck.
Yeah. So please do let us know in the comments. But yeah, so that happened, and then for some fucking reason, the Profits then left commentary and started fighting two random jobbers, and then that one was a squash match.
Yeah, as you do. Do we have any names on the jobbers?
Fucking no idea who they are. But they are basically just a pair of jobbers. And then fucking, I think it was Corey Graves. One of them on commentary was like, if there was any doubt that they're ready to face Andrade and Garza, then now that doubt's been removed. I was like, what from the fucking tag team champions beating two jobbers? Okay, it didn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah. Plus,
So
it's a bit of an odd statement as well, because it's like, well, they're the champs. Shouldn't it be Andrade and Angel who are said to be ready to face them, not the other way around?
exactly. Well, it seems like Ricochet
What are they
and
preparing
Cedric
for?
were more jobbers than these guys at this point, but
Crazy.
whatever. So it seems like
Yeah.
another one where they've just thrown it together, but it doesn't make any sense, and I'm not excited for it in the slightest.
No, it's it does feel very thrown together, and I was more for the Authors of Pain, but here we are. It's what they give us.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was there and it happened. It was a thing and it happened.
It was a thing and it happened.
So next, don't worry though, because this next segment is obviously gonna really draw the fans in. It's a Shayna Baszler promo.
Hang on, sorry. Okay, I'm ready.
Oh my god, she is fucking awful. Literally, she puts on this weird, like, grovelly, growly accent. She can't talk. Like, she pauses for like 30 seconds in between what she's trying to remember what the fuck she's saying. It just sounds so phony. And like they tried to bring back the whole thing with Becky, the interviewer. I don't know what her name is, but Shayna said to her like, "Oh, why are you nervous? You afraid I'm gonna bite?" And it was just like, ugh, cheesy as fuck.
You remember because I bit someone.
Well, yeah. Like we forgot. But then she basically, the whole thing she was trying to say was she loves to destroy. So why is she coming for the title? Well, because when she takes the title, it'll destroy Becky. Okay, that's some logic. So she doesn't really care about the title. She just wants the title because it'll destroy Becky. Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. So then Becky Lynch did the best thing all show and twatted her in the back of the head with a chair out of nowhere. Yeah, and then she hit her again.
Was that for revenge or just because she wanted the promo to end?
I mean, I'm pretty sure she was just like all of us, and she just wanted the bitch to shut up, so she just hit her in the face. But yeah, so she hit her with the chair, hit her again, and then walked off. So apparently that's retribution for someone biting shit out of your neck. The first time you get your hands on them. Last week she wanted to absolutely destroy her, but I'll just hit her in the back with a chair and then walk off. Seems fair enough.
Yeah, because when you're really angry about someone biting the chunk out of your neck, that's what you do. That's why she paid a fine in advance, because she's gonna hit her with a chair once and walk away.
Yeah, I mean, it makes so much sense. It's perfectly built.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then another jobber, again, no names.
Busy night for jobbers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know whether they were helping some local talent, maybe. I mean, it doesn't sound like WWE to do something out of the goodness of their heart, but it seemed weird that there were so many fucking jobbers on the show that I'd never heard of. But I didn't even recognize them as like, indie talent really. So fucking knows who they were. They could have just been people off the street.
I'll be honest with you. I think you might be right about the street thing. I think if we go and hang around the performance center long enough, the wrestlers are dropping like flies. They might just come out and go, you'll do. I don't mind getting squashed. It's
fine. So yeah, this particular random hobo off the street, Alistair Black, I'm talking about now, ended up fighting a jobber in another squash match. But yeah, that was just fucking pointless as well. Like it didn't. I've been saying this for weeks. It doesn't do anything to build him up. Like what is the point? They've had him beat some pretty decent guys now, and then what? Like they had him beat Eric Rowan for a bit, and then now he's beating a jobber. Then all of a sudden he's fighting Lashley at WrestleMania. I feel like it just doesn't make any sense. Like literally coming from nowhere, and I know they're up against some unique circumstances, shall we say? But fucking hell, like it feels like they have literally just asked everyone to put their fucking watches in a bowl, picking them out.
Yeah, but see, this is the trouble I've got. Like, I think this has been the trouble of losing the battle royals, because now it's like, well, what's Lashley gonna do? What's Alistair gonna do? What about Cedric? All the people that they randomly throw into a fucking battle royal are now having individual matches, and that's why it's going over 2 days. I think you hit the nail on the head last week when you said that. And but the matches haven't had no build up at all, so it's not really gonna be enjoyable for us. It's the type of stuff we'd normally skip.
Yeah, it's not going to feel like it's already not going to feel like a WrestleMania, but the thing about WrestleMania is, most of the matches, shall we say, have got some sort of build to it, or even the ones where they are battle royals, it's become like a rite of passage to have the Memorial Battle Royal, and you can still get behind that. But when you've just got random Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley, it just feels like an episode of fucking Main Event.
Oh yeah,
weird. So then next there was another promo. So this is Kevin Owens comes out and calls out Seth Rollins. Rollins doesn't make doesn't make him wait long. He comes out, basically says that this performance center, starts looking around, this performance center is nice, but honestly, does Kevin Owens think he's going to have the home field advantage by it being in the performance center? Fair dues, Rollins didn't train here, and Owens earned his job in this building, but he then kind of, the whole elitism with Seth Rollins comes out, where he's saying the only reason Kevin Owens has got a job and got the opportunity in the first place was because this place is built on Rollins' success. Starts talking about his time in FCW and how when he first came in, he just had a warehouse to train in, and now they've got this performance center. And it was a really weird promo. It was good, which I'll come on to, but Owens didn't get a fucking word in. He asked Seth to come out, and Seth just spoke for the whole promo. He tries to get a word in halfway through, and Seth is like, "Well, you always say less talking, more fighting, but just let me finish." Owens, why pick Mania to fight me? He's talking about his track record at Mania, which obviously is very impressive. Won the IC titles, beat Lesnar, cashed in the Money at the Bank, beat Triple H. So he says he's got more WrestleMania moments than he can count, and all Owens has got is just failure after failure, which it's a bit harsh. It's KO Mania. I mean, it's no A2theK, but
No. I mean, to be fair, it's a tough one to beat that, But I didn't mind the I think like you say, it was very one sided. It was Rollins' promo really, but I like the fact that it's become a bit more personal, and they've sort of cut out Buddy and they've cut out the AOP. All right, largely due to necessity, but I do like the fact that it's become just about them two. And if I don't know, the rivalry does feel like it's there. Do you know what I mean? I think whilst the promo probably went on a bit long and was very sort of Rollins ramble, I don't know. I can see that being a good match at Mania.
Yeah, I think and it was a really good promo from Seth. Really, it was just, I think it was strange that Owens didn't get a chance to get a word in, because Owens is also really good on the mic. And I think to your point, you've absolutely smashed it there with, it makes such a difference not having fucking 17 different tag teams getting involved for some reason, and it's literally just being about Owens and Rollins, and it's a match which, for me as a fucking wrestling fucking smark, back to the Ring of Honor days, these guys were the main guys on the indie scene, and they're getting their chance now, on Mania. Even though it's not exactly the grandest stage of them all this year, but just think how much better this whole build and stuff could have been if it was just more around them and less around fucking the 87 fucking different tag teams that they had in the back that they just run out for some reason.
Yeah, exactly. I think they suffer from too much talent at times. That like they have almost the opposite problem to AEW, where they've got so many people that it's like, let's give them all a go, and then you end up with that kind of mess. And I'm not saying they should put more program out or make it 4 hours long or anything like that. They just need to use it better. But it's a good problem to have, I suppose.
Yeah, it is criminal, the amount of talent that's just wasted with stupid angles and stuff like that. It's mental, but
Yeah.
That being said, assuming this actually happens and it is a normal match in a normal wrestling ring, then I am very much looking forward to this match now that it's just going to be them.
Yeah, I sincerely hope it is. I think that's what it needs. But I think possibly Samoa Joe, maybe as a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'd be happy with that if he comes in and
Yeah,
gets involved and
it's just if
takes
it's
out
like
Kevin Owens.
Street Profits are back for some reason, and here's the Authors of Pain, and here's
Yeah.
this other tag team that we forgot to mention. And...
If all that happens, then I'm going to be fuming, but I don't mind a Samoa Joe return.
No.
Oh, sorry, I thought Orange Cassidy was going to... No? Okay.
Okay.
And then the next second replay of the night was a replay of Charlotte versus Asuka from Mania 34. Obviously, it was when Charlotte broke Asuka's streak, undefeated streak. So that then kind of led into a Charlotte promo where, to be honest, Charlotte's not a good promo, and I've said this quite a few times, but this one was actually okay for her. It was short and sweet. She basically just said she always makes history, whether it's beating Asuka's streak, retiring the Divas Championship, or being the first woman to main event WrestleMania. She's now going to be the first woman to win the NXT title at WrestleMania. Short and sweet, got the job done. So yeah, all in all, was okay. But yeah,
I mean, there's a couple of little issues I have, but it's not about Charlotte's promo. One issue I want to mention is the fact that I feel like there's been entirely too many promos for both this and Becky and Shayna. And for some reason, it's just promo. And it's like, well, you're just saying the same things at this point. You're basically saying, I'm going to beat you in 700 different ways. And it's like, I don't know, like, do you need to focus on it that much? We're not that stupid. We're not going to forget that the match is there. You don't need to do something every week just to keep it in our heads. And yeah, I don't know. For me, it just seems a little bit overkill on the old promo side of things. And just again, it's only a pet peeve, but that little statement of being, I'll be the first woman to win the NXT title at WrestleMania. It's like, yeah, that's because it's not normally allowed to be at WrestleMania. That's because normally you'd win it at Takeover. So let's not act like it's something that like it was so inachievable by everyone else. No one else had the opportunity because it wasn't there. It never existed. But yeah, it's a little pet peeve.
You just know that this is going to count towards obviously they want to have her do the Ric Flair thing, don't they, and get her to be a 16-time champ. So you just know, regardless of title, this is going to be one of the ones that just beefs up that list.
Yeah, but again, like you say, it was one of her better promos. But for me, she's still just an unenthusiastic Ric Flair. Like,
yeah,
she can't even be asked wooing. She doesn't do the strut. She's just got. It's almost like she's getting close to. No offense, Orange, but she's getting close to you in terms of like effort put in. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Fair point.
Good point. And then to round out the show is a Randy Orton promo. So he still maintains that what he did was an act of love, but it's been taken as an act of brutality and violence. He's just fucking psycho, isn't he, basically? But he said he needs to get something off his chest and he needs to apologize because he lied to Beth when he said that Edge is a junkie for the roar of the crowd. He's not. He's actually a junkie for his own ego. And then yet again, a real name thrown in there. He says Adam Copeland is a junkie for Edge. Yeah, don't like fucking hell. Like, why even bother with people with fucking having names anymore? Literally, just have everyone be their own name and just be done with it.
Exactly. It's surprising actually because WWE are big on like, you have the name that they can sort of market and copyright and keep. So it's surprising that they're throwing so many real names out there. Because if we do it enough, then it's going to be like, get your Adam Copeland t-shirts. How are you going to take a man's name from him? You can't.
Well, yeah, exactly. So it doesn't make any fucking sense. Like why it's become so, we all know that you're all just silly people with like it just belittles it, doesn't it? It belittles the product. Like why, it just makes you think. Well, actually, yeah, your name's Adam Copeland. Why the fuck are you calling yourself Edge, you prick? You almost go on Randy Orton's side.
Yeah, it's like, well, it's similar. Like if you go back to the AJ Styles stuff, it's like, wait a minute, you're not really a dead man. It's like, yeah, why are we pointing that out?
Yeah,
like we know it's a suspension of disbelief. We all know in reality he's not really undead, but you kind of buy into the whole story of it, don't you? So when everyone else in the show is acknowledging it, it becomes a bit daft. And it's the same
Exactly.
problem with Randy here. That's like, well, okay, if you're gonna point these things out, it does start pointing out that it's all fictitious. It's a bit unusual.
Yeah, I don't know. It just didn't need it. Do you know what I mean? I think that there's enough storylines at the minute where fucking real names are getting brought into it in real lives, and yeah, I don't know. Just I'm never going to be a fan of these types of things. Let's be honest. But so yeah, he basically then starts. I think whoever's writing this shit has watched the film True Grit, and just as or either that or they're having a fucking drinking game of how many times you can say the word grit. But yeah, Randy Orton's now coming back to Edge and saying, well, how can you say I've not got grit? I've got longevity. No one's accomplished what I've accomplished, and no one has as much grit as him. So he's done acting out of love, and he's going to write the last chapter in Edge's story and accepts the last man standing match. So
It's funny. It's funny you mentioned this whole thing about grit because when I get onto SmackDown, I'm going to point out that they have a nice little word of the day. So Raw's word of the day was clearly grit, and SmackDown had one as well, which I'll go into. But,
interesting. I
it
think
does fit
people
the
are just trying to get through this COVID-19 shit by just getting absolutely wasted, and so they're just having little mini drinking games. It's the only explanation.
Yeah, I like it.
So yeah, all in all, that was Monday Night Raw. So I think from my perspective, it's a good start. The Brock and Drew stuff. Obviously they had two separate replay matches. I think the Lesnar one was okay. The Charlotte and Asuka one just kind of did feel a bit like we'll also put that one on for some reason. I wasn't a fan of the Styles Taker stuff. I felt like there was a lot of jobber pointless matches that got thrown in there. Shayna Baszler's promo was awful. I did like the Rollins promo, but I think Owen should have had a chance to get involved. And then I am still excited for Randy Orton Edge, but I do feel like that's getting a bit overdrawn now as well. Just saying a lot of the same stuff week after week and not really getting any further with it. So
Yeah.
I think if I had to score it, it wasn't terrible. But there's no way, and I think this has been generous. There's no way I could give it more than a 2.
No, I totally agree with you. For me, and I'll keep my reasoning short in that this added nothing. If you'd have cut this entire Raw out, it wouldn't have changed anything for WrestleMania.
No.
So, like you say, it was okay, but for that reason, like I could actually skim through most of it, and I'll be honest with you, I did. So yeah, it has to be a 2 for me as well. There's nothing in it really. There was no real content for me.
No.
No. Orange, do you want to offer a rating or?
Yeah, actually,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, yeah.
Fair play. Fair play.
Yeah. Couldn't disagree at all there, Orange.